Hey guys, so I know you were expecting a live stream this Saturday, even though I told you there wouldn't be one. So I wanted to give you something else to do. So while I'm out shooting video with my iPhone in the ocean, I hope you enjoyed this next video. Last week I flew to Atlanta, Georgia to visit my Reef Creations, where they're working on a project for one of my clients. And I met up, of course, with the owner. His name is Raj, and he is going to give us a brief tour of their facilities. Raj, show us your shop.
All right, well, let's go take a look out back. This is one of our smaller i-sumps, smaller version of the one you're going to see next. One of our 60-inch industrial fracks in process.
60 inches wide?
60-inch diameter.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is going to be the collection cup for it. It's in process. Just came out from the thermoforming machine and got bonded to the outer part of the cup.
So thermoform means you melted the bottom part upward?
Yeah, so we heat up the acrylic in the machine and then we form that cone that you're seeing.
And then you glue that piece in the middle on top of what you formed.
Correct.
Nice. Homemade.
That's right. Everything made here so we can control exactly how it is, how it's built, the quality of the materials, you name it. But this guy does all that stuff.
So at this point, I couldn't just sit there and look at things. I had to get my hands dirty. And I decided this looked like a good project I could tackle and not get into too much trouble. This is a very large skimmer. As he said, 60 inches in diameter. That, I believe, is a 10-inch fitting that took about 20 minutes to bolt on properly. That's why big projects take a long time. You might wonder what aquarium needs something this size? Well, it's such a big project, it needs 2 of these protein skimmers. Oh my God, there's my skimmer.
Not quite, Mark. Yours is over here.
Oh, it's still pretty nice.
It's still nice.
So we can see how big it is. Pretty big skimmer. Pretty big, yeah. All right, so we've got a really nice protein skimmer. And is this skimmer rated for a certain size tank?
So the way that these are rated are by their flow rates, based on your required dwell times or desired dwell times, right? So you can put up to 150 gallons per minute through the skimmer.
It's so interesting that you measure that way because I think most people are like, is it good for a 500-gallon tank? Is it good for a 1,000-gallon tank?
Well, when you get to a certain level, it's not about the water volume. You really need to base it off of your bioload. Yeah. How much livestock is really in there? How much waste is it producing? How much waste do you need to export? Yeah. Right? And you don't want to run it at the max gallons per minute either. So when you look at our rating sheet, it'll tell you what the max is. Yeah. Don't run it at the max. I mean, that's like redlining your car the entire time, right? You want to set it within certain parameters. Right. So if you want a 1 minute dwell time, minute and a half, 2 minute, that's how you'll structure that.
So this skimmer here was rated for 2,000, it was built for a 2,000-gallon setup I'm working on.
Right.
Does that mean I can throw in as much food as I want because this guy can handle it?
Pretty much.
That's kind of what I wanted to hear because I'm thinking a huge fish load. And so you
can definitely handle that.
Really handle a good load.
Yeah.
All right, so what do we got here? What's this black thing right here? Tell us about that.
So that is a custom waste collector we did for this protein skimmer. And it's going to allow that collection cup to drain into it and fill without you having to service that cup or let it go into a floor drain.
Yeah, because removing that collection cup looks like a lot of work. I see a lot of screws.
Yeah, so you've got stainless steel nuts and bolts, but it's designed not to be taken off.
Right.
You've got our washdown system on there where it's going to spray 3 distinct diameter cones. So it's going to keep that collection cup really, really clean. Yeah. And then you have the access port on top. The whole top unscrews within seconds so you can manually clean it. You rarely would have to do that.
So when this thing turns on to wash itself, does it lose a lot of water? How much water do you think would go down the drain from washing a cup like this?
You're looking anywhere between 3 to 6 gallons, depending on how long you run that for. Right. And you can change, it's going to be factory set to run for 10 seconds, but you can change that.
Okay, so 10 seconds once a day, 10 seconds?
It comes factory programmed to do every 12 hours, so twice a day for 10 seconds. So you're only burning a few gallons every day, but that is something that you do need to account for.
Well, and when we were planning this one, and I said, okay, I want a container that can hold a bunch, that right there, if it's dumping, let's just say 6 gallons each time, and let's say we do it twice a day, that's 12 gallons
12
a day
gallons.
times 7 days.
Right.
We have enough room in here because that's a 100-gallon waste collector.
Right. So you've got more than enough room in there to collect not only the skim mate that's coming over, but your washdown volume too.
And then we did something special with this.
That we did. So we've got some float switches in there, and there's 2 in there for redundancy. Once this thing is full, it will actually shut down the protein skimmer. It shuts down the main drive pump and the washdown system.
Right.
Then you know it's time to empty this beast, and that's going to be
no one
gross.
can lift that.
No, nobody can lift that. You'll drain it from the bottom. There'll be a valve. But this also has a freshwater washdown system too, because it is going to smell all sorts of bad.
That's awesome. I love that we were able to do that, because I was thinking, who's going to want to open that up or crawl in to clean it out? It needs to be an automated system, and having this have a washdown system seemed critically important to me.
No, and that was good. It's good that you were thinking about your client like that. You know, most people don't care what's going to happen or how their client is going to end up dealing with it. So it's good that you had that forethought.
It's all about the logistics.
So water is going to enter the sump right on the end panel, right here via 2 3-inch inlets, and it's going to upwell into the sock chamber. It's going to upwell here and then cascade over your filter socks. You've got 200 micron filter socks that lock into place. And you want them to lock into place so that water can't go around them, bypassing the very filtration that you put into place.
Right.
These are overflows, so just in case you get lazy and all 6 of your socks are clogged and the water level rises, instead of it going outside of the sump, it drains back into the sump.
Yeah, we definitely want that.
Definitely.
I like this upwells. Can you explain what this means? So I see holes here, and water's going in there.
Water goes in there from the tank,
and
then it
up.
upwells into here. So what's going to happen is you will get this nice little dome of water, right?
Yeah.
It's larger here than it is here, so that
bulge.
the weight of the water prevents it from just shooting straight up.
Gotcha.
So that's why we do that.
Yeah, that
Your
looks
traditional
like maybe 5
design,
inches, where this was 3 down here on these inlets.
yeah, that's 3, this is 6.
Oh, 6. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what you traditionally see is water just entering from the top or from the side, and it blasts across, which still works and is still fine.
Yeah.
With this, it's going to evenly distribute to 4 socks.
Yeah.
And this
both
one
sides.
distributes to 4.
Right. Yeah. Okay, and then you've got a lid.
Then you have a lid.
Is that
You
for
always want a
sound?
great lid. It keeps the sound in, it keeps your splatter in.
Yeah.
It really makes a big difference.
Okay.
And it looks cool. So
All right.
you always have to make sure that looks cool.
And now this is a really cool part of the sump.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we innovated many, many years ago. It's our industrial inline UV. It's all high output, multi-lamp system. It's going to, and it's configured for your setup. So the beauty of this is you don't have to mount it anywhere. You don't have to find space for it. You don't have to plumb to it.
Right.
There's so much taken out of the equation. It makes it nice, easy, and compact.
Yeah, it's all built in.
It's all built in. There's nothing to do except plug it in.
Yeah.
And we'll take a look at the controller here in a second.
Okay.
Now, this is the moving biobed chamber.
Such a weird thing.
It is, but it's really, really cool. I can't wait till you see it in action.
Okay.
It's actually really, really neat. And if you're going to do a biomedia and you have, the space to do it, this is a really good way of doing it. However, it does need to be spec'd properly. You need to take the data of how many pounds of fish, how much you're going to feed it, and run some calculations on what type of bioload that you need to control.
So there's going to be meat in here. Let's just pretend it's like macaroni.
Okay?
And it tumbles around.
Yes.
And there's air that makes it tumble, so there's going to be tons of air bubbles.
There's tons of air bubbles in there.
And yet the air bubbles in this section do not end up in the return zone.
Correct.
Wow, that's amazing.
If you set it up right and you have your bubble baffles, you don't get bubbles into your main system.
That's why you built it.
There you go.
All right. And now we got a bunch of wires.
Yeah, so that's your control panel for your UVs. You've got LED markers here that'll tell you when each of the lamps are on, or more importantly, when they're not on. So if a lamp goes out, that's going to be the thing that tells you which lamp to change.
Nice.
But you should be changing them on a proper interval anyway, so you don't have to worry about that.
This is all white acrylic, right?
No, this is our I-series sump, and our I-sumps are made of just different materials. You know, we'll use either type 1, polypropylene, HDPE, depends on the application and depends on the specifications.
It's beautiful. What size
Thanks.
is this in inches? It's like 8 feet long?
Yeah, it's 96 by 36, 36.
Okay.
So 8 by 3 by 3.
Big. It's really awesome. And then we've got a piece back here that I added. That's specifically to attach probes and sensors for water level heights and so forth.
Right, that's
then
your
on
bluefin
top
for
of
you're using magnetic
Yeah.
holders, right?
Yes. And then on top of here, we're going to put something.
Yeah, so we're going to do some fiber grate on top of that so that you can put your equipment on.
Right. So like an actual shelf. with
An
some on
actual
top.
integrated shelf that can hold more equipment, keeping your workspace more compact.
Well, let's look at the equipment.
Sure.
So this right here is clearly a calcium reactor,
Yep.
but it's the biggest one I've ever seen for a home aquarium.
Yeah, this is our 1032i calcium reactor, and it's a pretty good one. It's a pretty big one. It's not completed yet. It's still missing some parts, so there's some work to be done.
There's a
Refract-
refractometer for sense of scale. And you said this was 32 inches tall?
Right,
Wow, most skimmers aren't even 32 inches tall.
right. You're dealing with the whole other caliber of equipment at this point now.
Yeah. And then we've got a couple of matching reactors.
Yep, one for carbon, one for GFO, or whatever other solid medias that you want to use.
And those also will have plumbing going in and plumbing coming out. I love the logos on the front of everything. I love how everything matches, everything works together. And what are all these sumps? What do we got going on over here?
So one of the sump is for coral quarantine, and again, to match the main sump, we did them all as i-sumps.
Yeah. So this is a common sump, sock section, skimmer section, return section.
Right, because it's for quarantine, kept it pretty simple, pretty basic. Your standard design. You can drop in a submersible skimmer if you wanted to, or use an external.
And we've got our probe holders and our dosing tubes for dosing if we felt the need,
Right.
if the demand was too great. And then in the back here, we've got matching or sister sumps
Yes.
for the fish quarantine systems.
Right. That way you can do a split system so that if you do have an issue in quarantine, you have an issue with half of it, not necessarily all of it.
So nice. And yeah, everything matches beautifully. It's like all the same stuff. I love it. Cool. Thank you very much for showing us all this stuff.
Anytime.
Now that our personal tour is over, I want to do one more walkthrough of all the components that are going into this project. And I haven't talked about this on YouTube because my client is private, but I am definitely allowed to show you the gear. And I'm going to be showing you another video in the near future of the aquarium itself. This protein skimmer is fully automated with some very nice controls, as Raj went into. It is very clean, it's welded together, it's bolted together. You're not going to be taking this apart anytime soon. Each of the sumps are designed to all match each other to get that full, nice complementary look. The system is very heavy. Everything, it's going to take about 3 pallets to ship this to its destination. I'm super glad I got to see it before it was boxed up and shipped, because I wanted to make sure everything was good and to go over any logistical things that might need to still be considered. This was my first time to visit their facilities. I've always seen their products at the trade shows, and the quality can't be matched. It's beautiful. So getting a chance to tour it and see some of the projects they're working on is kind of exciting. And of course, I have to wrap this up with the obligatory selfie. Though, is it really a selfie when the camera has to be that far away?